of principles of food hygiene and sanitation in the COVID-19 era. Next, please. So what is food hygiene? So it's a little bit different from the food safety. Its definition is, according to Poltekkes, it's like all conditions and measures necessary the safety and suitability of food at all stages of the food chain. So it requires to safeguard the quality of food from production to consumption, as well as it can prevent the microbial contamination of food at all points, also at all stages of the food chain. Next, please. So what is the difference between food safety and food hygiene? So food safety is the entire system of the managing risks, while food hygiene falls under the umbrella term food safety. So food safety is a little bit, is a broad, is a wider term, and food hygiene is under the terms of the food safety. So food hygiene is individual set of practices for controlling only one aspect. Next, please. So these are the general principles of food hygiene. This is varies. Actually, it depends on the source of the reference, but it actually it's not really basically the same. So general principles include six factors. So the first one is hygiene measure related to production condition, and the second one is measure for the personal hygiene, and the third one is related to the facilities like cleanness of the equipment and apparatus. Next, please. Next slide, please. The fourth principle is related to the handling, transport, and storage of products. And the fifth one is related to the control of operation. And the last one is maintenance, cleaning, and waste management. So you can see the general principles of food hygiene is covering all the stages of the food chain. Next, please. This is the key elements of the food hygiene, which is more specific than the general principle. So also there are the 6 key elements of the food hygiene, which includes personal like which is very hot topic within these days. So the food industry or food businesses must clearly identify which products are included in their food products. So so that the people can prevent if they have some allergy to the some food products. And the fifth element is safe storage, and the sixth is cooking temperature. Next, please. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do for the food safety during the COVID-19 era. So until now, there is no current evidence the food or the food packaging being associated with the transmission of the COVID-19. However, instead, the COVID-19 spread mainly from person to person, but people can become infected by touching a surface or object contaminated by the virus and then touching their face. So there is a greater risk when the people are close contact and very crowded people while outside, especially during food shopping or receiving a food delivery. So we can have infected during this time. So the survival, the COVID-19 on the different services, there is a WHO study said that the virus is viable for 72 hours on plastic and stainless steel and 4 hours on copper and 24 hours on the cardboard. But this study is under control conditions, so which means we have to interpret with the caution. So it means that it is true. It doesn't make true in every situation, but we have to interpret with the caution this study, but it's still some kind of useful. So I put in this slide. Next slide, please. And somehow viable on the surfaces. So when we have contact with the surface and when we touch our face, especially our nose, we can get infected. So we need to follow the hygienic practices. And there are the hygienic practices for the some groups, some category like food industry, food premises, and for the household, the hygienic practices are basically the same, but a little bit different. So in here, I put the different title for the hygienic practices. So the first one is hygienic practices for the food industry. So eliminate or reduce the risk of the food services and food packaging materials. So being contaminated with the virus from food workers. So in the food industry, they have to use the PPE, which is personal protective equipment. It should be proper. So such as they should wear masks and gloves to reduce the spread of viruses and disease within the food industry, and also physical distancing. So you all know about the physical distancing. We also call the social distancing, which is like we have to stay separately at least 3 feet, or if we can make the white space, it should be at least 6 feet. And also promote the frequent and effective hand washing. So hand washing is the most important one. I think the first speaker also emphasized on the hand washing. So we have to wash our hand every time we handle something. So this is the most important one. Okay, next slide, please. So this is for the food premises. So the first one is for the food industry. So it should include the personal protective equipment for the food workers. Food premises in here, of course, we have to careful on the proper hand hygiene. So we have to wash our hand so with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Then frequent use of the alcohol-based hand sanitizer. So in there, it mentions the alcohol percent should be at least 70%. And also the second one is good respiratory hygiene. So when we coughing or sneezing, we have to cover our mouth and nose in order to prevent the spreading to the population. And also we can use the tissue, and also after that we have to dispose this tissue properly, and after that we have to wash our hands again. So this is a good respiratory hygiene. And also the third one is frequent cleaning and disinfection of the work surfaces and touch point. So it includes so many points, but in here the example I only put the door handlers, but actually in the real situation it should be cleaning of the whole areas, like not only door handles, but for example, like staring, when you climbing the stairs, it should be you will touch the stair holder, right? So we have to clean these surfaces as well. And also the avoiding close contact with anyone showing the symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. Next slide, please. This is for the household. So the household, so the first one is you have to avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, because for the cleaning around the house. So in here, as already mentioned, we have to clean the high surfaces in our house. And so what we're going to use to clean and disinfect, we can and the running water, and disinfectant also product alcohol at least 70%, and also like household bleach, sodium chloride is like diluted household bleach, hypochlorite solution can also be used for the disinfectant. Okay, next slide, please. This is for food packaging and the handling precaution. So it's like we have to dispose the unnecessary packaging into the waste bin. And also when we order the food, we have to remove food from the containers and place on the clean plate and dispose the container properly. And also we can wipe in the packaging with the disinfectants, and we can wash like unpackaged product. We have to wash thoroughly with the running water. And also, of course, we have to wash our hands. Next slide, please. Use the recommended temperature, and we have to use clean utensil and plate. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. I'm gonna skip this slide. Okay, next one. So this is is about the explanation of food microbiological. I think the first speaker already mentioned this picture, and you already seen this one. So foodborne diseases are the major public health issue, because the mortality rate is very high for the children and 5 years of age, and the consequences is very serious, that it can lead to the cancer or kidney and liver failure death. Next slide, please. These are the impact of foodborne diseases, which affect the 3 levels, like individual. So you have you can lose the medical costs and income loss. You can suffer in, and also the food industry level and also the state level. So at the national level, we have the loss of national productivity and also the loss of the tourism and loss of the human resources can occur. So the foodborne diseases impact is very huge. Next slide, please. So what are the foodborne diseases? It means infectious or toxic nature caused by agents that enter the body through consumption of food. Next, please. So it's caused by the biological contaminants, chemical contaminants, and physical contaminants. Next slide, please. I'm going to skip this slide because the time is running out. I'm going to skip this slide. Okay, so what are the foodborne pathogens? So this is the most common foodborne pathogens. This is not the exclusive list. Yeah, there's so many more pathogens we cannot find out, but this is the most common one. For the bacteria, there's I think you all heard about the cholera. So Vibrio cholerae, Salmonella, Shigella, E. coli, they are the very famous bacteria for the foodborne pathogen. For the viruses, it includes hepatitis A and E viruses, rotavirus, poliovirus. For the parasites, Entamoeba histolytica, which is, I think you all know Entamoeba histolytica, which is worm in our abdomen, and also Giardia, Toxoplasma. These are the most common pathogens for the foodborne diseases. Next slide, please. So what are the high-risk foods? There are some kind of high-risk foods for the foodborne pathogens. So the first one is eggs and egg-based products. So the one that of foodborne illness outbreak is occurred by the egg products. So mostly Salmonella infection. So we have to be careful for the cold chain for the egg products. And the second one is poultry. So they are the Salmonella carrier as well. So because of the cross-contamination, we can get the foodborne diseases. Next slide, please. So whenever we eat the raw food, we have to be very careful because it is also the very common source for the foodborne illnesses. And also the chemical residues can be contaminated in the raw food. So we have to be very careful when we are eating the raw fruit and vegetables. We have to wash this raw food with the running water thoroughly. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. So how can we control the bacteria? This is more technical. There are the two steps in. So the first one is prevention of spoilage. Use the irradiation, or we can keep storage at the very proper temperature, and we can add salt or sugar, and also drying, and we can add the chemical preservative. This is more about on the food technological things, but we can control bacteria in this method. Okay, next slide, please. This is we can inspect. This is also related to the food business kind. So we can have to inspect at the slaughterhouse, and we inspect on the proper storage of meat or fish, and also rodent control, fly control, which are very important, but usually they don't really taken care of these things, but this is very important for the foodborne rodents, flies, and cockroaches, and also personal hygiene, of course, about the hand washing. So these tools are we can control bacteria in food. Okay, next slide, please. I'm going to skip this slide. Yeah, so this is the last outline from my presentation. So what are the tips for securing food from contaminants in the COVID-19 era? Actually, I already mentioned a lot in the previous outline for the food hygienic practices. But this outline is a little bit focused one. Okay, next slide, please. This is controlling how can we control the food safety hazards. So proper food storage and preparation is the most important one, and also risk reduction control. So we have to emphasize at all stages, at various steps in the food processing. Okay, now it's bigger than I just realized. Okay, next slide, please. How can we control the food safety hazards? That's the first one I mentioned in the last slide. Like appropriate slaughter techniques are necessary uh, to prevent the foodborne illnesses, and also the animal origin foods should be adequately heat treated and protect from the recontamination. And keeping the environment and all equipment clean is critical, and also of course personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is the most important one for the household level, and observe the good hygienic practices which should be done at the industry level. Okay, next slide please. This is the WHO published 5 keys to safer food. I think the first speaker already explained it. So after winding up all my presentation, the most important one we have to do is we have to keep clean our hands. So which is personal hygiene as well. We have to wash our hands every time when we touch the surfaces and cook to prevent the cross contamination, and really at the appropriate temperature. So at least 70 degrees. So at least 70 degrees Celsius, and we have to keep our food at the safe temperature. And also the important one is we have to use safe water and raw material. So which is important, but sometimes is neglected for the safe water because in Myanmar as well, in some of the rural area, there is the safe water is not accessible. So how can they cannot get the food safety in there because their water itself is not really safe to wash. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, I'm finishing. So this is the same with the WHO. This is from CDC. Next slide, please. Next, please. I just want to conclude my presentation. Proper cleaning and prevention of cross. I'm finishing. So this is the same with the WHO. This is from CDC. Next slide, please. Next, please. I just want to conclude my presentation. And the application of these hygienic practices and principles of the hygiene will reduce the harmful pathogens. So preventing contamination in the food chain will reduce the foodborne illness and reduce the likelihood of the novel disease or the COVID-19. So this is the likelihood of the emergence of the novel disease or the COVID-19. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you very much, all the participants.
Oh, wow, thank you very much for the insightful presentation, Dr. Lee Tantasu. Yes, so the time is running without second session of the seminar. It seems like everyone enjoyed your presentation, Dr. Lee, because here we've got so many questions, but then we only choose 3 selected questions, and I'll be reading out the questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so for the first question, during a pandemic, how is the supervision of the government or World Health institutions on the distribution of internationally traded food?
Can you read again?
Okay, so during the pandemic, how is the supervision of government or World Health institution on the distribution of internationally traded food, or perhaps maybe like exported and imported foods?
Okay, I see. Okay.
Exported and imported foods.
Okay, I see. Okay. I have to answer one by one, or
which one do you prefer? Do you prefer me reading the 3 questions, or you prefer one by one?
I prefer one by one.
Oh, okay, sure. Now you may answer.
Yeah, this is a very good question. Thank you for raising this question. Yeah, this is very difficult for the internationally traded food, and also I am not the policy maker level. So this one is related to the Food and Drug Administration from our country. Actually, from my knowledge, I know that there is a organization for the some private and we have the public and private organization, public-private partnership organization for this internationally traded food. We have to examine. So during COVID-19, I think for the first year, during the first wave, of course, during the first wave, I think we stopped importing for a while, not very long. Of course, we cannot stop a very long time. So at that time, we stopped for a few months. I think only 2 months we stopped, and then after we take some time. We take some time. After that, we our regulations, and we have to reinforce at the meantime we have to reinforce our law and the regulation for this. How will we do this internationally traded food? So after that time, and then we open all the imported foods again, but we have to wait until because the virus survived in these surfaces for only 3 days, according to the study from the WHO at that time. So we only wait for the 3 days. We not touch immediately after the food imported. So we only wait 3 or 4 days, sometimes days, and then after that we just manage for this internationally traded food at that time. But for now, it's okay because we have the COVID-19 is already under the control, so there's no problem anymore. Does my answer satisfy the question, or?
Yes, we heard that it was clear enough from the participants. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I continue to the second question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The second question is, what types of processed food needs a distribution permit? Because during the pandemic, there's a lot of food circulating that needs more supervision and requires permission.
What type of processed food?
Yeah, needs a distribution permit.
Distribution permit, I see. Actually, that's every processed food in our country. Every processed food needs distribution permit. We have to apply. We can apply online. That every time we have the industry and food products, we have to apply to our Food and Drug Administration department online, and then they have to wait some time to get the permission. So I cannot say what kind of need permission clearly or specifically, but all types of processed food need permission in our country.
Okay, so there are no specific foods that require permits, right?
Yeah, because we have to request permission for all kinds of food that comes out from the food industry. So that's all kinds of food.
No, exactly. Thank you so much for the answer, Dr. Lee. Now, may I read the third question?
Yes.
Okay, so for the question, out of 4 tips in controlling food safety hazard, which one is the crucial efforts, and how do we tackle with those problems?
Can you read again? I'm sorry, the first sentence.
Yeah, I will repeat it again. So out of the 4 tips in controlling food safety hazard, which one is the crucial efforts, and how do we tackle with it?
Oh, I think 4 tips, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, which one is crucial? Actually, every tip is crucial. So I cannot say that one is most important one. So I cannot say like that, because we made it 4 tips because each tip is very important and very crucial. So we cannot leave anything out. So I can say that all tests are crucial, and we have to follow through all the tests so that we can prevent the foodborne pathogens as well. Every day, we are doing very easily is the hand washing one. That's why I'm saying from throughout my presentation, the most important one is hand washing. I'm saying that because it's very easy to follow, right? So everybody can wash their hands, at least 20 seconds. So it's very easy one to follow. So I emphasize on this one. But the other one, like to cook thoroughly, cook thoroughly means some kind of people in the rural area doesn't even understand. So what is thoroughly? It's like that. So it's a little bit difficult, and they cannot separate raw and the cooked food. So so we have to educate it until the rural area. So because all the tips are very important and crucial, but we have like some kind of weaknesses in giving health education to the rural area, especially our country in Myanmar. So it's very difficult in transportation. So we cannot reach to the hard to reach area, we call it. So the other tips are a little bit difficult to educate to the hard to reach area. So I emphasize on the hand washing, which is very easy to follow, but all the tips are very crucial and important ones.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone has their own roles, right, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, yes, of course. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for answering the questions too. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Lei Tandasu. Your presentation was amazing, and it's an honor for us to have you here with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me as well.
Yeah, please. Now, please let me read the summary, I guess. Okay, so the strategies to improve food safety is by implementing the principles of environmental sanitation, personal hygiene, and food safety practice to control all hazards at all stages of product's life cycle and food chain. And as an outcome, it will prevent and reduce the likelihood of harmful pathogens to cause contaminants, especially during this COVID-19. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Lee Tandasu. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, please let me show the e-certificate for you.
Okay.
So are you planning to go to Jakarta again to visit your university for PhD?
Yeah, actually, I have a plan.
To Jakarta again to visit your university for PhD?
Yeah, actually, I have a plan, but currently in Myanmar is very
strict
crisis situation.
Oh, I see.
So it's not easy to go abroad during this time.
Do you miss Indonesia and Jakarta?
Sure. I really miss the food in there. The noodles, I like noodles in there.
The mie goreng?
Yeah, sure. Mie goreng. And then also, I forgot what is that. The noodles with the meatball, yeah?
Yeah, it's called mie baso.
Yeah, that one. I like that very much.
Oh, so have you heard? It's from Bandung. If you visit Indonesia, make sure to try seblak, okay?
Okay. I will try. Maybe next year, I think our country will be better conditions in the next year. I hope.
We hope the pandemic is over, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry for the delay, Dr. Lee. For the 4 years living in Jakarta, what do you enjoy the most in Jakarta? During the 4 years living in Jakarta? Am I audible, Dr. Lee? It seems like your connection is.
Actually, I'm muted. That's why. I'm sorry. Yeah. Actually, I like shopping batik in Jakarta,
Oh, pardon?
Batik. the dress, the traditional
Oh,
dress.
batik. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
using batik as my
yeah,
skirt now.
yeah. We
Let me
really
show
love
you
it
the
very much.
pattern. It's brown.
Yeah, we
Let me
really
show
love
you
it
the
very much.
pattern. It's brown.
Yeah, we bought a lot in Jakarta actually.
It's unique, right? It has patterns and
Yeah,
colors variations.
yeah, and also I traveled to Jogja at that time. In there, also the batik are so beautiful in there.
So you have batik collections too? Do you have?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because Myanmar people also like wearing batik. It's very comfortable. Yeah.
Oh, so do you have some type or some kind of batik in Myanmar?
No, we don't have it. We just bought from like Indonesia batik. Sometimes we can have from Thailand, I think. But we
Oh,
wear a lot.
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, in Jakarta, I always wear batik.
Wow, that's cool. Like in Jakarta, how about when you're like, can you tell us about the difference, uh, continuing your degree in Jakarta and Myanmar? Like what kind of difference you're experiencing, and is there, if any, culture shock that you're experiencing while in Jakarta?
Yeah, that's a lot different. I because Myanmar country is not really developing country, yeah. So Jakarta is a bit very developed, and when I stay in Jakarta, it's 2014, and I finished my study at 2018, and when I coming back to Jakarta on 2019, the thing is really different. It's very improved within 1 year. So I'm so amazed that at that time, oh my God, within 1 year they can make such kind of improvements like that. The things are so different within 1 year. That's my inspiration for the Jakarta.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the compliments to Jakarta. I hope I can also visit Myanmar one day, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah, you can
So,
travel
do you
to
recommend
Myanmar.
any place for me to visit in Myanmar if perhaps I have a chance to
Sure.
go there?
Sure, there's a lot of Asian places in Myanmar. It's a lot. Sometimes some places are famous. Again, Asian city. Actually, it's very famous. Places are famous. Again, Asian city. Actually, it's very famous. But there are the places that's not really much famous on the wall, but there's other Asian places like previously we have a lot of less 100,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, palace, so many kingdoms in our country. So you can visit to that places. I can bring you.
Wow, thank you so much. That's very interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I will be waiting.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
You're welcome.
Now, let me show the certificate. Okay, it was really nice to
Okay.
have a chat with you here.
Bank Bank Negara Indonesia,
Cicil,
PT RM,
Greenfluencer,
Eco Event,
Media Kampus,
Event Bandung.
dan seputar event.
The honorable participants, we will continue to the third session of the seminar with the topic Application of Food Safety Keys in Online Food Delivery Services, which will be delivered by Mrs. Yosefina Ardiani Septiati, SKM MKes.
Hadirin sekalian, kami akan melanjutkan untuk seminar sesi ketiga dengan topik penerapan kunci keamanan pangan pada layanan pengiriman makanan online yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Yosefina Ardiani Septiati, SKM MKes.
The third session will be led by a moderator and we will be reading out his curriculum vitae.
Untuk sesi ketiga pada seminar ini akan dipandu oleh seorang moderator. Sebelumnya kami akan membacakan terlebih dahulu CV beliau. Untuk moderator kedua ini atas nama Fikri Haikal, tempat tanggal lahir Bandung 3 April 2001, alamat Gang Cibarengkok nomor 20 RT 4 RW 10 Kota Pendidikan SMA Negeri 6 Kota Bandung, Diploma 4 Kesehatan Lingkungan Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, organisasi founder Komunitas Pengolahan Sampah Kedai Kopi Riwes ID, pengurus Solidaritas Pangan Kota Bandung, dan anggota Himpunan Mahasiswa Islam Cabang ITB Kota Bandung. Prestasi, juara 1 kompetisi teknologi tepat guna di Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, juara 1 kompetisi debat bahasa Indonesia di Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, dan pembicara terbaik kompetisi debat bahasa Indonesia di Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung.
To make the time efficient, we straightly invite Fikri Haikal to guide the third session of the seminar.
Untuk mengefektifkan waktu, kami langsung mengundang Saudara Fikri Haikal untuk memandu seminar sesi ketiga.
We will be handing over to the third session of the seminar to the moderator.
Selanjutnya, kami akan sepenuhnya menyerahkan sesi ketiga seminar kepada moderator.
Baik, terima kasih kepada MC yang sangat luar biasa pada kesempatan kali ini yang sungguh bersemangat mempersilahkan saya untuk memberikan kesempatan di sesi berikutnya ini, yaitu kepada Atia dan juga Hasbi. Melanjutkan ke sesi berikutnya, saya ucapkan selamat datang kepada seluruh peserta Seminar Internasional Kesehatan Lingkungan tahun 2021 yang hadir di ruang virtual ini dalam keadaan sehat dan juga berbahagia. Semoga Tuhan berikan kesehatan di tengah pandemi COVID-19 ini. Pertama-tama izinkan saya untuk menyapa Bapak Ibu yang sudah hadir di kesempatan kali ini. Kepada Ansarif MKM yang terhormat Teguh Budi Prijanto SKM MKes, yang terhormat kepada pemateri kita Ibu Yosepina Septiati SKM MKes. Dan tak lupa saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada seluruh peserta yang hadir pada kesempatan kali ini. Saudara-saudara semua yang hadir dalam ruang virtual ini, saya akan menyampaikan sedikit selayang pandang mengenai materi yang akan disampaikan pada kesempatan kali ini. Sektor pengantar makanan online diperkirakan akan naik 11,5% pada tahun 2020 sampai 2024. Sektor pengantaran online ini merupakan penyumbang 20% dari seluruh transaksi elektronik yang ada di Indonesia. Sehingga kita dapat melihat berapa urgent atau seberapa besarnya peminat dari jasa pengantaran online ini, makanan. Kenapa masyarakat memilih jasa pengantaran online ini? Karena yang pertama karena luasnya pilihan dari makanan yang dipilih, dan juga mudahnya untuk sekali klik dan mendapatkan makanan tiba sampai di rumah atau di lokasi. Itu sehingga membuat jasa pengantaran online ini diminati banyak masyarakat. Namun di balik kenyamanan tersebut, terdapat sebuah problematika masalah keamanan pangan. Sehingga diperlukan partisipasi dari seluruh pihak, dari mulai pengolahan sampai dengan konsumen, dari mulai dapur sampai penjamah, dan kurir itu sendiri. Maka dalam kesempatan kali ini, kita akan membahas mengenai penerapan kunci keamanan pangan pada layanan pengiriman online bersama Ibu Yosepina Ardiani Septiati SKM MKes. Ibu Yosepina Ardiani Septiati merupakan akademisi di Poltekkes Kementerian Lingkungan. Ardiani SKM MKes. Selamat pagi menuju siang Ibu Yosepina. Apakah sudah hadir di ruang virtual ini?
Ya, selamat siang. Sudah hadir saya?
Selamat siang. Bagaimana kabarnya Ibu?
Alhamdulillah baik.
Alhamdulillah. Terima kasih telah hadir di kesempatan kali ini di acara seminar internasional tahun 2021 Ibu. Baik, masuk kepada sesi materi. Di sini izinkan saya dan sesi tanya jawab akan dilakukan selama 10 menit. Maka dari itu kepada 10 peserta untuk mencatat dan juga mendengarkan materi yang disampaikan oleh Ibu Yosepina Septiati SKM MKes. Kepada Ibu Yosepina saya persilahkan.
Thank you, moderator. You can. Hello? Okay. My presentation this day. Sebelumnya mungkin saya ucapkan ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Important of application for safety in online delivery service. Food delivery service business was forecasted in 2022 will be grow and become one of the fastest growing sectors in the food market. From a considered foundation, number one, food delivery, outbreak in food delivery, hazard in steps food delivery, and 5 phase food safety. There are many channels in food delivery to buying food online, such as marketplace, food aggregator application, or messaging application like WhatsApp. Until now, online food delivery service annually between 2020 to 2024 is practice has not been accompanied by guaranteed food safety. So this is an outbreak total individual, an outbreak of gastroenteritis associated with delivery food in China, and based on study by Jiang, to be an outbreak associated to food order through an online food delivery platform. Causes are food handling practice carry potential risk of acute gastroenteritis. Karnawati research report that around 35% of packaged food sold on marketplace that did not have a food business license and required for label, there were 1 million cases of diarrhea. Food delivery service, the way we consume our daily meal, the easiness, speed, and convenience provide what is whether the food delivery service might have posed of hazards to its customers. Hazards in the step food delivery included, so this is the fact the food delivery service is different from food manufacturing and unique in terms of location, logistics, and the various types of food. The food delivery service of hazards are identified from the activities at the receiving stage of the order food, and during delivery includes storage condition and duration of transport. The food delivery service in the list steps of the preparation before it reaches the customer. It is the final stage of the food supply chain operation that usually receives the least attention. So this is preparation, receiving, and packaging of food above 32 degrees Celsius. The food should not be at ambient temperature for more than 1 hour. And if chilled food is taken out of refrigeration, it should not be left out over that 2 hours. This is duration of transportation. The time of food stored in the temperature, including storage, transportation, etc. So that delivery person, it should be understand the delivery person is food handler. They have much condition. Number 1, personal hygiene, basic knowledge regarding food hygiene and safety. The other food at any food premises, the rider food must obtain the compulsory food handler certified and vaccinated with typhoid injection. The rider also should not be allowed to deliver any food if their hands before and after collecting food and before and after delivering food. About factual food delivery person. In China, food delivery person not attention to hygiene, cleanliness, clothes, and no healthy supervision. And in Indonesia, there has been no attention and supervision of health status, personal hygiene, and health of food. So this is food delivery box. The storage bags of food packaging an important role to minimize hazard and contamination. The temperature of the food can be maintained right so that the food is safe to the consumer. Special delivery box that can keep hot and cold food and free contamination. Box must be cleaned before and after use because spilled food will be a source of contamination. Implementation of food safety is very important to prevent foodborne disease. Causing bacteria or pathogens contaminate food, they can cause foodborne illness. The federal government estimates that there are about 48 million cases of foodborne illness annually, the equivalent of sickening 1 in 6 Americans each year. And each year, this illness results in estimate 128,000 hospitalizations and 30,000 deaths. Purpose of food safety are provide guidelines for as cooks to make sure safety from disable with into how a cooking food at room temperature. And without temperature control. Organizing the food business by taking into account food safety factors, including the supervision of food handlers. This is my presentation. Lihat, apakah ada kesesuaian tadi ya berkait sudah aman, cara pengirimannya sudah benar atau belum? Apakah dia mengirimnya dengan digantungkan pada bagian bawah motor ya, pada gantungan barang di motor, atau misalnya saja tadi ya ketepatan penggunaan pengemas, ya, apakah makanan yang sifatnya asam dan panas itu apakah digunakan pengemas yang jenis plastik ataupun steril, kita yang bisa melakukan pengawasan. Karena kalau kita lihat dari kondisi di Indonesia seperti itulah adanya. Nah, kemudian juga dari penjual ya, penjual itu harusnya juga diberikan pemahaman bahwa dari penyiapan sampai dengan makanan tersebut diantarkan pada konsumen. Jadi dia juga harus punya prediksi sehingga itu harus dimasak ya. Jadi tidak dimasak terlebih dahulu, menunggu waktu, disimpan pada suhu kamar, kemudian nanti baru ada yang memesan, dikemas, kemudian diantar oleh delivery foodnya ya, food delivery-nya. Nah itu sebenarnya juga harus diberikan pemahaman terkait hal itu tadi. Nah di pedagangnya atau penjual itu juga dia juga harus diberikan pemahaman berkaitan tentang bagian makanan yang benar dan juga pengemas bagian makanan yang benar dan juga pengemas makanan yang aman, gitu ya. Nah kemudian terhadap ini juga terhadap masukan terhadap aplikasi pengantar ya, bukan aplikasi ya, petugas pengantar yang semuanya adalah dalam satu ini ya, satu organisasi. Misalnya bisa tadi ya, bisa agregator makanan, bagaimana kebersihan daripada box pengantarnya.